get this sheet right here in front of me. Okay.
Perfect. Okay, well,
Yeah.
if you could just start off by saying and spelling your
Sure.
name for me.
Terri Bell, Terribell.
Okay, and you are the supervisor for District 5.
I am the supervisor for District 5 and also serve as the president of the Forrest County Board of Supervisors.
Okay, and then if you could just remind me really quick, just the coverage of District 5, what area that covers.
Well, you know, it's a very interesting district because it starts all the way up at the Hattiesburg Country Club, and then there is a slice that comes down through Midtown, and then it goes down through like Sullivan-Kilrain Road along I-59, a very thin sliver, and then we're all over the southern part of the county. So it's Maxey, Carnes, Brooklyn, and then also Fruitland Park area.
Okay, gotcha. So for your area specifically, I guess in the Hattiesburg and just for your district, what have you guys been has there been any projects going on over this past year that you guys have been working on?
Oh my goodness, girl. Yes, quite a few that we've been working on. If you want to start, first of all, we took a focus this year to grow Forrest County, and we wanted to make our whole focus on that this year. Last year is my second year in office. Last year we focused on improving Forrest County. So that included things trying to get us technology advanced, updating like procedures for employees, looking at our buildings, taking an inventory of those, and determining repairs, and there was a lot of deferred maintenance, so we wanted to make sure that we took care of the assets of Forrest County, and so we did a lot of work on making those improvements. And this year we want it to be growth of Forrest County. One thing that we are in partnership with Lamar County on is the Eagle One mega site, which is if you go down Highway 11 and past the I-59-11 interchange, and you go about 3 miles down the road and look on your left, there is 2,100 acres that Lamar County and Forrest County have purchased together. And we have a board called the Forrest Lamar Alliance, and this board is actually getting that property shovel ready for a large manufacturer to come to town. And it will be a significant change for our whole economy and the area when it does actually hit. And it's not a matter if it's going to hit, it's when it's going to hit. So we have been trying to do some things to get ready for that. This site, we've done a lot with water. We've done a lot with clearing it and grubbing it. So the land is slick as you can see, and you can look out now and determine exactly where your plant would go. So yeah, we've been doing that. Water is another part, Dixie Water as well as Progress Water. Dixie's in Forrest County, Progress is in Lamar County. They're making a joint alliance, and they are going to have a water district down there that will actually serve that particular site. We're in the process right now looking at sewage with it. That's a big part of this as well, because manufacturers are going to have, you know, things that they're going to need to be able to get rid of. And so we're doing some work on that, as well as environmental permitting. This particular site does have some water on it, and so we have to take a lot of precautions with it. The environmental permitting for this site, we do expect it to take 2 years, and we're currently in the very early stages of that, but feel like we're going to make some great progress with that in the near future.
Okay, so you said 2 years, so probably about 2027, 2028-ish?
It will be shovel ready at that time. I just want you to understand that, but that does not mean that we're not ready for someone to come right now. Right. So if you had a manufacturer, I mean, they're not going to be ready to put a plant up and start operating today. But if they were to come today and say, hey, yeah, Hassan, I'm ready to go with this, then there would be a lead time that they would have on getting their facility ready. So 2 years is really very practical So we're ready. Entertaining a lot. We have got some people that are still interested in it. We had one this week that has come to us, and it's going to be a great opportunity for our area. They will also bring in a lot of other businesses that will need to be there for supplies for them. So fingers crossed that this one will continue to progress and will be the chosen site.
Okay, and you said there was a couple people kind of looking at the area. Do you guys have, or do you mind sharing what kind of manufacturers are looking at the property?
I'm not at liberty to talk about that. We really try to keep that quiet.
Okay,
So, yeah, I mean, people get very sensitive about
Yeah.
that. So it's best to just keep that quiet. But I want people to know that we're actively pursuing a suitable company to come there that meets our criteria, and that we're looking for a number of jobs and a number of dollar value of investment right up front.
Okay, gotcha. Well, then aside from that project, I know you mentioned water a little bit. What other projects have you guys been kind of working on this year?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of our bridges have wood pilings up underneath them, and so erosion over time has caused them to lose that. They're becoming unstable. So we have, DOT has given us a list of bridges that we need to focus on moving from wood piling to concrete. And before I even came into office, there was an effort to do that. So it was $15 million that Forrest County has invested in doing some repairs and putting in concrete pilings instead of the wood pilings. So I think we're in a good place right now as far as the condition, but it is an ongoing process to get all of these converted to concrete pilings, our bridges. So that's been a part. This year, Forrest County has done a lot of paving in our rural areas, and so we've had some good feedback on that. We've also looked at we've got a lot of our roads, like I have 150 miles in District 5 of roads to take care of, and 15 miles of dirt road to take care of. So some of these roads were in disrepair, and so we have chip sealed some of them. It's a lower cost than paving. So we wanted to do that so that we could get a test case from the other residents on the road to see what their feedback was on that type of paving. It's not really paving, but it's chip seal, it's rock, and then some asphalt with it. So we've had good feedback on it. We borrowed the equipment from Lamar County to give it a test this year. So we've done that, and we've also put about $2 million of paving in our county.
Okay, good. Well, then I guess to kind of jump into, how the state legislative is involved. For these projects that you guys are working on, especially with the manufacturing site, excuse me, I know you guys probably pull funds from Forrest County. Do you guys have any plans to maybe ask the state for any kind of resources or funding?
I have to tell you that the state, the MDA up there, has been unbelievable what they have been able to do for us with Eagle One. The governor is highly committed to that site, so we have received quite a bit of money from the state level. And then we've also received some money from the federal government as well for that particular site. Forgive me, I probably could go look up that number of the total investment out there so far, but it's substantial. And I can find that number for you if you'd like that.
Sure, yeah. So you can email it to me or text it to me after the interview. You said somewhere around $2 million?
That's on our paving.
For the paving, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then I guess aside from those projects specifically, any kind of future projects that you guys have, do y'all plan on bringing anything like that to the legislative session in January?
Yes, we will be back, and we've had some discussions with them in Jackson as well as in D.C. With Eagle One, with this alliance that we have with Lamar County, Area Development Partnership, the ADP, does a lot of the conversation with the federal and the state for the alliance. They act on behalf of the alliance. And so they just got back from Washington, D.C., had a very favorable response. Everybody's like, what can we do, and what do you need, and let's bring this home. So.
Good. Well, then to kind of go from the state to the more community level, I guess at least for District 5 and Forrest County, I guess the community hasn't had a whole lot of reaction to the project itself. So then, has there been anything specifically that the community's been asking for?
You know, whenever I came into office, I started up a South Forest task force down in the lower part, which is geographically a big area for District 5. And so I asked them exactly, what do you need? What do you want? I don't want to be sitting up here dreaming it up. But their first thing was better access and quicker access to ambulance service. So we did go and worked with AAA ambulance, and we have stationed a paramedic down there that goes and evaluates the patient, and if there is need for an ambulance to come, then they do. Because you have to understand, from Hattiesburg Center to the lower part of the county, we're talking, it can be 40, 45 minutes. So it needed a person located down there, and so that's what they have done. AAA was wonderful to work with, and it's a great partnership there. The second thing that they have asked for was some recreational type activities. So one was a little bit more updated playground equipment, which we have provided, and then secondly, they have the South Forest Youth Sports has grown from 40 children playing baseball 3 years ago to this year 225 in that community. We do not have enough fields down there to accommodate that, so some of your 4-year-olds were having to play at 9 or 10 o'clock at night to get their little games in. So we're in the process right now of putting to an under 10 and then a t-ball field in Brooklyn. And so we just got it grassed yesterday, right before the rain. And so it's really exciting. I think the children are really going to enjoy it. But that was their wish list. And then in Hattiesburg, the city proper of Hattiesburg, my people that I represent there, their main request was good government, to look at how you're spending your money and how money is coming into the county, and to be good stewards for their assets. And so we've done that, and it's worked out well. So, you know, I feel like we're meeting a lot of the needs. One of the other things that recently was done up by the country club, there is an 8-foot sidewalk that is running along the road that's connecting to the trace. And so we've heard USM's out there running, you've got William Carey out there running, your high schools are running out there on it. So I think it's met a need out in that area for some outdoor recreation.
Okay. Now, I just, out of curiosity, we've actually had a lot of the county officials and mayors talk about recreational stuff. And a lot of them had said that they've been using kind of like grant funding and stuff like that. So if you don't mind me asking, how did you guys fund the sports fields and the playground? Yeah,
the sports fields were, it was a public and private type encounter there. So there was quite a few donations that came in to help support that. And then the county has, you know, stepped up with doing a lot of the dirt work down there. And then some people the seating was done by a local contractor in the area. So I think you just see that everybody wants to come together and make something happen. Grants, as far as the sidewalk up there at the country club that I mentioned, there is a group called the Mississippi Planning Organization, MPO, and MPO, you can designate some projects that are beneficial to Lamar County, Petal, Hattiesburg, and Forrest County, and we all kind of jointly do projects together because there's a small allotment of money, but that project was actually funded by MPO out of the state.
Awesome. Oh, sorry, my phone was slipping out. And then also just to ask about the AAA and having the paramedic down there, how long ago was that implemented?
It was implemented about January of last year.
Okay, gotcha,
Yeah.
gotcha. Okay. Let me see. What else was I gonna ask you? I had something right on the top of my head. Really quick, do you have anything?
I do. I have 3 questions.
Okay.
Okay, so what do you want citizens to understand about the county's needs going into this year's session?
What our needs are. I contacted, we have a Mississippi Association of Supervisors. Are you familiar? Has anybody told you all about them? Stephen Gray up there is our legislative liaison for all the counties. So I think there's some common elements that you see with all the counties. And, I got him to send me a list of things that they're going to approach this year. And I thought that might be of interest to you. Full statutory reimbursement of homestead exemption. If your home is your homestead, then you get a break on that. But the state, and there's some requirements that they are to send back some money, but they have been holding back some of that money. And I know that's one of the things that Mississippi Association of Supervisors will be going after. Another thing is fire services, the equipment for fire services in the county or anywhere. It's just unbelievable. I mean, you look at one of these trucks now, you're probably looking at $650,000, $700,000 for one truck. And there are some state laws out there that say it's based on the year that the truck was purchased. Now, if it hasn't been used a lot, it might have low miles on it. So why have we got to replace it just because it's older year, but it's still a good truck? I mean, it just gets expensive. So the state's going to be looking at that as well as trying to give more funding to the counties. I think that's important. They do give some now, but I think they're going to make another round there for that. Mental health. We have just partnered with Lamar County to do a crisis stabilization unit down in Purvis. And that particular location will be where someone, let's say, they get called and there's a person that is showing that they're having some issues. They will be taken to that area, and in there, it will be a temporary type location, but they'll try to stabilize that patient. So whether it's drug issues or if it's mental health issues, get them on the proper meds, try to get them, but it's short term. And at that point, they'll either, transfer the patient to Pine Grove for treatment of drug abuse or mental health, or, it might be something that would have to go to the jail. But you prefer not to put those people in jail if you don't have to. And I think this is going to be a great thing for our community. And the city of Hattiesburg did partner with us on that as well. So.
Do you mind if I interrupt you really quick? So just because we actually had another mayor that was talking about, the need for mental health and kind of funding for those resources. So if you don't mind me asking, where are the resources going to come to fund that area down in Purvis?
For the long term, you're talking about actually the operation of it.
Yes.
Okay, so Pine Belt Mental Health is part of that, and they will be putting people there. And there'll be one part that's that, and then, the other part, there may be long-term some parts that the counties will have to contribute, in the city of Hattiesburg contribute. But right now, we feel like Pine Belt Mental Health will be able to help us out on that issue with the operational expenses of that.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, you can resume.
Sorry.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
That's a good question.
Are there any county departments or projects that you feel have been underfunded and need legislative attention
Oh, yeah.
for next year?
I do.
What projects do you think are
I think infrastructure is a big part, and that's our roads. I mean, you've got state aid roads, and so your state DOT takes care of them. They're beautiful roads. I mean, they look great, and we just had, HB1, the House Bill 1. It has now taken some fuel tax and going to give more to state aid road. But counties have to take care of their roads as well. And paving has about doubled, and the costs are just, for us to be able to keep pace with what's needed, we need some serious help with funding on that from a state level. So hopefully there'll be some allocation of that. We do have a use tax. That's what your tax is for internet sales, which is very important. And we definitely utilize that money to be able to offset any kind of work that we need to do on our roads. But like I said, creatively with this year, we tried this chip sealing, which is like a fourth of paving costs. So we hope that's going to be something that we can take care of our less traveled roads and be able to make those roads nicer to go on, but the expense isn't as great as just strictly paving. Good question.
Okay, so a side question to that. We've talked to a lot of counties about issues that they've seen, and they always say the roads as well, but they're planning more of like a road expansion. Is that something that you guys are looking at as well, or is it just the paving of the road?
Road expansion. Explain what you're meaning by that.
So, like, for example, I know, especially on Hardy Street in Hattiesburg, like,
Uh-huh.
The intersections always are backed up around 5 p.m.
Yeah.
And so they're planning to build like more expanded roads for those type of intersections. So
You'll need to talk to Toby Barker about that because it's city,
Okay.
you know, that road would be. So ask him about it. I think he does have some plans for that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
And then my last question was, what resources do you want the legislator to prioritize for growing counties like Forrest?
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, we are one of the larger counties in the state of Mississippi, so we know that our resources, you know, from a budget standpoint, when I came in here, I was like, man, I got to be enough of that budget to go around and do this. Goodness, do you know what all counties have to fund? I mean, they have to fund your court system, your circuit court, your chancery court, your juvenile court. You've got all these court systems that you must have judges, you must have courtroom space, you've got to have all that. We've got all these buildings. Forrest County owns 52 buildings. We have to maintain all of those, which is expensive. Then on top of that, you got these roads and you got bridges and you've got an Eagle One you're trying to pull off. And so we've got to grow Forrest County. Only counties get money that are from property tax, personal property and property tax, and a little from car tax. So if that's our only funding source, we get no sales tax. Do you understand that? Y'all know that? We don't get any sales tax in the county. Cities do, but we get none. We have got to work smart. And, you know, the other thing that we continue to push for is in the unincorporated area, outside the city limits, all of that sales tax, do you know where it goes? It goes straight to the state. Do you know what we get back from that? Nothing. Nothing. I feel like some of that sales tax in the unincorporated areas ought to go to all the counties. And so that's always something I plug every time I visit with them up there in Jackson. And we do. We spend a lot of time up there getting to know them, but we have a great delegation in the area. I mean, they're easy to work with, and I think they've got our best interest in mind.
Is there anything that you might want to bring up that we haven't talked about yet?
I don't think so. I think y'all did a good job.
We tried.
Yeah.
Do y'all have any questions, Jade and Nick?
Yeah, I have a question.
Sure.
You talked about partnership with Lamar County for the mental health program. How helpful would you say partnering with other counties is, and would you be is it something that you would be open to doing something in the future with like infrastructure or health or something else?
Yeah. So, you know, down there, when Pine Belt Mental Health comes in, if we're not filling the beds in there, and we've got a bunch of vacancies, then they will look at other counties to bring in patients to that location. So, but if we are using them, which I think we will, we feel like we're probably going to need to expand before we go that direction. I think we're always open to that, because if you look at, we have a juvenile detention facility here. Do you know about it? There's children in there that are 12 years old, which just breaks my heart. But they've made some bad decisions along the way. It's usually with a weapon. They usually go in there because they have done some crime with a weapon. And the facility is just like some trailer pods put together. We have got to build a new juvenile facility. But you know what? We house children, and I will call them children, from Meridian, Pearl River County, Walthall County, Perry County. All the counties come here and house their juveniles in our particular location here. So we plan to do some improvements on our juvenile facility. That's one thing that we're working on some plans right now. The other thing is that our regional jail, our jail was built to be a regional jail, can accommodate up to 200 more inmates there. But we have never got the state to send us any of their Mississippi Board of Corrections, I think is what it's called, inmates. So we're in the process right now of becoming a regional jail for that. But I think you have a good point there, that you're asking about helping out surrounding counties. And, I think we're going to see how this works. And it's kind of a test case. I mean, if you look at the plans for it, it's like a living room setting. They come in and there are these sofas that are there, and the person is like a one point of entry. They come in, they sit there, they have counselors that come and meet with them, evaluate them, and then they're taken in the back where there's actually beds where they can administer medication and try to help them get on the correct medication to keep themselves stabilized. So I would think that might be something, because everything else we're doing is regional. I mean, our adult jail is going to be regional this coming year, as long as we get the funding from the state. And then juvenile is already regional. We take care of children all in the surrounding areas for us. So, yeah, that's a good question. I think it's something that we need to do.
Well, then I guess, just to kind of end off, overall, how are you feeling about the upcoming state legislative session? About how you think
Well,
it's going to go?
I think it's going to be good. I mean, we've already had conversations with our senators and representatives, and they kind of know things that we're going to be focused on this year. And I know they'll call and kind of throw some ideas out at me of things they're looking at for counties, and get our input back on them, so we kind of let them know, don't do that, or yes, do that. So I think there's a great working relationship between Forrest County and the local delegation especially. So.
Okay. Well, I think that's about everything we have.
Yeah.
I think that was a great